Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are ranking my Pat McGrath palettes that fall in the rose category. So if you are new here, welcome to my channel. And if you're an oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley and I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and that's how you get Dr. Ash in her makeup, because I just love makeup. Eyeshadows are really my jam. I really love Pat McGrath, and that's what we are talking about today. But please just call me Ash or Ashley. So let's see. Lately, everybody's been commenting on my earrings. Thank you. So these earrings are vintage, a la like 1980s. They used to belong to my mother, and quite a few years ago, I was going through some of her things and she let me have these. So thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. But let me tell y'all, so I have had these piercings in my ears since probably I was like 4 or 6 months. Whenever you got your first round of shots back in the day. I'm 36, so I was born in 84, But so I've literally had these first piercings forever. I have a second piercing right behind it, but I never wear those earrings. And let me tell you, this earlobe is hanging on by a thread. Like, I need to see a doctor immediately so I can keep wearing earrings. It's becoming a situation. So in this video, we are like holding on by a thread because this earlobe is in danger of probably splitting. Even stud earrings cause me a problem. It's to the point that I wear my Tiffany ball earrings all the time, and I don't even wear the regular Tiffany backs on it. I wear the magic back. I have a magic back on this particular earlobe, which helps kind of like lift it up and keep the pressure. These earrings are not even heavy. A lot of the earrings I wear on the channel right now, they're not heavy earrings at all. They look heavy, but they're not. This just comes from wearing super heavy earrings. This earlobe is okay. It can get irritating, but this... Baby, it's a situation. I need to get a restitch, and then I need to get it repierced. It's a situation. But like I said, we are ranking all 5 of the Pat McGrath palettes that are rose themed. Yes, I said 5. I know people are probably just thinking like 4, but I am counting La Vie en Rose because La Vie en Rose was the first palette that we had that was rose themed. I mean, La Vie en Rose. And even though it is a spin-off of the Subversive, because it's a spin-off of Mothership 3, it still has a rose theme. It's a little bit different, a little bit brighter, and has some pops of purple, and of course it has that gold because, Pat gives us gold anytime we get a palette. But I am going to be ranking all 5 of those palettes for you today because, she's come out with so many. So I thought, what a fun idea to just go ahead and rank this particular category of her palettes. And then I will do this makeup tutorial for you so you can see how I created the look using these Pat McGrath palettes. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So coming in at number 5, I kind of feel bad giving this palette number 5, but I mean, it's just like, it's the truth. So these are my personal preferences as far as the rankings. Doesn't mean that the palette's bad. It's just how I particularly like the palettes. So coming in at number 5, I'm sad to say, is Divine Rose number 1. So, I mean, she's beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. I just love the roses and the like half hidden face with the pop of gold on the artwork. And then when you open the palette, you get a great body of shadows. You have some cool tones, you have some mauve tones, you have a brown, you have this beautiful shade right here that is a shade shifter. This is a duochrome shade. So this right here is VR Rose Venus, and it's a beautiful duochrome shade. Then you also do have some repeat shades in this palette. So let's see, we have Rose Dusk is a repeat shade, and then we have Skin Show Nude is a repeat shade, and also this shade Iridescent Pink 03, which I'm actually wearing as a highlight. It is not my favorite shade as an eyeshadow. So that is some of the reasons that it got a 5 in my particular ranking. Plus it's a little bit more cool tone, a little bit more subdued. When you look at the other rose themed palettes, they have a little bit more pop of color, a little bit more pizzazz. But overall, I feel like this is a very lovely palette. It's very wearable. I reach for it all the time in my collection. And I just feel like you can get some great, easy looks with this palette. This palette is very no muss, no fuss. You can pop a look on it. It's very wearable. And I feel like this is the reason why a lot of people started turning to Pat McGrath, or who really weren't interested in Pat McGrath. They were like, oh, this Divine Rose palette is beautiful, because it's a color story that a lot of people do identify with. They can wear it to work. They can justify the purchase of $125. They're like, okay, it's simple. I will use it. I will pick it up. The formula doesn't seem too complex, even though the formula is great. But these shifter shades where you have so many of the different textures, we have the Blitz formula 005, we have the Astral Ghost Luna, and all those particular shades, they're not so complex. They're a little bit more simple to work with, and you can just get some very great everyday wearable looks. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. And if they're going to spend $125 on a palette, especially when they're not like super intricate makeup wearers, they're like, this is something they can wrap their mind around. And the color story is very complete. Unlike some of her other palettes, maybe like Subversive or Subliminal, where Subliminal is a little bit more complete, but you got those bright pops of color. And some of the other ones, you have to wrap your mind. You have to say, okay, I can put this orange, well, not orange, but you can put this green with this purple, and you can just mix and match, where this is just like no muss, no fuss. Not to mention, I did do a ranking video previously on all of my Pat McGrath palettes. So I own 18 well, now I own 20, because she's had 2 more releases since I did that last ranking video, and that did include the Golden Opulence palette. So this palette actually ranked as number 16 in my total collection. But now that's a little skewed that I have the other 2 palettes, but I just wanted to give you that piece of information. In at number 4, we have this holiday quad known as Ritualistic Rose. This is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my goodness. So I feel like the reason why it came in at number 4 for me was just because there are no mattes in this particular quad. So this is more of a special occasion quad, but this particular shade, Beyond Bronze 003, can be used to blend out in your crease, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But I am just really loving this Astral Rose Orchid right here, and Rose Quartz. I mean, they are so beautiful. I feel like you can get a complete look at this, but I just really enjoy some of the other matte shades in the palettes a little bit more. So that's why this came in at number 4. I do have parts of this palette on. I feel like it's very glitz, it's very glamour. You're going to get a very sparkly look if you're into sparkly looks. So this is why it came in at number 4 for me. And overall, in my last ranking video, this particular palette came in as number 12. Number 3 is the newest addition to Pat McGrath's palette collection, and this is Mothership Rose Decadence. This palette has just come in and it has stolen my heart very, very quickly. I love the packaging. The outer part of the packaging is very beautiful. I love the big hieroglyphics. I love that you can just open it up very easily, and you don't have to have that whole second part flap to the palette where you have the little bunchy envelope, even though I like how that looks aesthetically, but when you get ready to use it, it's a little annoying because you can't keep the palette closed. But this palette is so gorgeous, and what does it for me are really like the matte shades, especially the shade Peach Dusk. I actually have it on as blush right now. It is a gorgeous transition shade. It works so well on so many people, and depending on your complexion, it's just going to be really bright and vibrant, or it can be a little bit more hint of peach if you're a little bit deeper on the color spectrum. I feel like this palette is so beautiful. The Peach Dust and the Hedonistic Rose is amazing. I love how these mattes just coincide with these colors so beautifully. Now this particular shade, which is called Scandalous, I'm in love with it, but you all know that I love a good coppery, rosy, bronze, cranberry shade. So this is orange, it's bronzy, and it has that metallic formula where you can just blend it all over the eyes and be done. So you already know I'm here for that. This particular shade right here, which is Fuchsia Flame, is amazing. It has the purple reflex. It is just so beautiful. It's so easy to put on everyday looks, and you get that vibrant rose feeling from it, unlike what you get in maybe Divine Rose 1, and unlike what you get from Social, the sparkly formula in Ritualistic Rose. So these shades just really just pop. The golden shade, which is Golden Honey, is nice also, but it's not my favorite gold if we're talking about all the golds that are in the palette series when we're just talking about the rose palettes. But I do like it, but I do kind of wish that it wasn't a gold in there just because she gives us so many golds. But overall, I really enjoyed this palette, and I have not put it down since I have purchased it, which has only been about a month so far. But I've just found it so easy for everyday looks. Next up is La Vie en Rose. And let me tell you, this is one of my all-time favorites in my Pat McGrath palette collection. This came in number 3 in my whole entire collection when I did my ranking video. I love this palette, and this color Purple Rain is a standout showstopper. I mean, this was one of the first palettes that we got that had a bunch of color. You had the pinks, you had some mattes that were not brown or smoky. So, I mean, but Paranoia just gives you that smoke. It's plum. And I feel like this palette is still, even though it's such a pop and a punch, it still has some very wearable looks that people can wrap their mind around. And this, like I said, the shade Purple Rain, it is just compared to none. It is so hard to formulate a purple that's just going to stand out and be vibrant. But this satin matte is exquisite on the eyes. It packs a punch. You don't have to do much layering. You do a little blending out. You are good to go. Even the shade Rose Risque is so bright and it's confusing. It's like, is it satin or is it matte? But it's actually considered kind of like a matte also. And then you have the shade right here, this mauve tone. This was one of the few mauve tones that we had at the time, and it is called Euphoria. I'm like, I can't remember the names. And then this particular shade, Gold Nectar, this is one of my favorite gold shades in her palette collection of all time. This gold is so vibrant and so pretty. And then Pale Fire in the inner corner or all over the lid is amazing. Quite a few of these shades are actually known as singles in the Idols collection, but literally one of my favorite of all time because I feel like it's not as brown based, it's wearable, it's approachable, you have pops of color, you can wear it out, you can wear it to work, you can wear it in events in between. It just serves so many purposes for me. And if you're a little bit deeper, dark in skin complexion or your mind complexion or deeper, it's going to pop so well on your complexion. And even if you're fairer, it's going to pop so well. But I just love the palette. The quality is amazing. And just the way that she formulated this Purple Rain, especially just making that particular matte shade more like a satin metallic matte, just really gave that shade all the oomph and all the pump. Because we all know we have tried purple mattes and it's just been a dud. But La Vie en Rose is just magnificent. And with that being said, it should be no secret what number 1 is, and you already know. She has come in and just stolen the show, and I literally feel like, so I ranked number 1 as Mothership 5, but I feel like she might have stolen Mothership 5's spot. I have not put this down. This is Divine Rose 2. It is my jam. I love burgundies. I love mauve. I love gold. I love the shade Extraterrestrial. It is amazing. And this is the gorgeous packaging. I need a t-shirt in this, like how we did Mothership 5 and Mothership 2 and 1 have a t-shirt. Can I get a t-shirt in this? Please. Mother Pat, look at this beautiful, I was so lucky to get the limited edition packaging. It is so rose gold and it has a mirrored reflection, and I just try to kind of clean it off a little bit with some glass cleaner, a little bit of Windex because of all the fingerprints. And you guys have seen it for so many videos, like the artwork has been there, but the palette has been there. This palette I literally leave outside of the box. All my other Pat McGrath palettes, which are right there, I have them inside the box and they are stored. This one I have been leaving out for easy access. I wear this palette at least once a week. Y'all, I have a lot of makeup. I love this palette. I feel like it's so wearable. It's so cohesive. You're going to get bright, fun, sparkly, warm looks. I mean, no browns. I mean, this particular shade right here, amazing. There's so many beautiful quality shades in this palette. Extreme Burgundy, you know I love a good burgundy, purple, deep brown, purplish matte to deepen the outer corner. I don't always care for dark browns, and that's why I love Mothership 5, just bringing it up, because we had extreme aubergine in here, but we have extreme burgundy, which makes it a little bit more approachable for daytime looks also. Another wonderful, beautiful shade, Eleganza. I have Eleganza also on the lid today. Beautiful mauve, has great light to the eye, it has great sparkle, and then when you put Astral Pink Moon on top of Eleganza, forget about it. VR Sexual Terrestrial, baby, that is a shade you can wear by yourself. I have worn this shade to work so many times, taking a big fluffy blending brush, and I am talking about my, let's see, can I find it? So I am talking about my Blender Pro by Sonia G. I have taken this, blended it all out, put it all over the crease, all over the eyelid, mascara, little liner on the bottom, gone, out the door. Amazing. And everybody's just looking at me like, is it purple? Is it pink? Is it green? Does it have gold in it? They're like, wait, that's one particular shade. Because you have to realize everybody's just not so much into makeup, but this shade is amazing. And then you pair it with a little bronze rose 005. Look, amazing. The only shade to me in this palette that's kind of a dud is the color isn't a dud, but I feel like the performance, it just gets a little hard pan. It can be a little hard to pick up, but the shade itself is not so much of a pigmented shade. It's more of a topperish shade. It has some base color, but not as strong as one would think. It's the shade Divine Dusk. It gets a little hard pan. And I've noticed that in other palettes, other people's palettes that are on YouTube, like that shade, it kind of looks a little, if you see it, it looks a tiny bit hard pan in this particular palette. But overall, this palette is done so well. And the shade Naked Blush, like we have a transition shade that's not brown. I love this palette. I have literally worn Bronze 003 all over the lid with a little bit of Extreme Burgundy in the crease, outer corner, buffed it out. I love this palette. So those are my rankings, and I hope you enjoyed it. So that is just my personal preference, and you might feel a different way, but that's fine. We are all supposed to think differently, but this is what I have come to love with this particular rose section of Pat McGrath's curated eyeshadow palette collection. So let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial of this look. Go ahead and get started with the tutorial. My eyebrows are filled in using my Goof Proof pencil, shade 3.75, and I went in with my Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Caffeine. And I'm going to start with my Sephora Pro number 10. Going to jump in with Rose Decadence first, the newest palette out of the collection, and we're going to jump in with Peach Dusk, which is right here, and I'm going to put this in my transition shade area, I guess. And I'm just going to blend this out. I'm going to go back and forth, little windshield wiper motions here. And I just love this color. It's so pretty. And I'm just going to build it up to the intensity that I want it to be. Right, so now that that is blended out, I'm going to go in with a diffuser brush, diffuse crease brush by Sigma. This is the E38. It's a dual-ended brush. This actually came in the Untamed palette by Sigma. And I am going to jump into La Vie en Rose, the first Rose palette. And I am going to take the shade, what is it called? Paranormal, right here. One of my favorite shades. This is one of my favorite palettes by Pat McGrath. And I'm going to blend this in the crease. Just going to start tapping it in, and then we'll diffuse it out. And this was like one of the first palettes where we didn't have like blacks and browns. We have one gold. The gold in here is one of my favorite golds. And I'm just blending this out. And look how somebody was asking me in one of my recent Pat McGrath videos. Was it the one with Divine Rose or Rose Decadence? I think they were asking me, you know, when did I get my first palette? Did they say, well, yeah, like I got this palette, I remember I was off of work because I was injured. So yeah, this palette came out in 2018 because her brand really, like the palettes and the brand of, well, not her brand, but the palettes and all of that stuff really came out in 2017. So you see how it still looks great, it's still applying great, no problems. And it's 3 years later. So don't worry. You will get your money's worth out of these palettes if you use them. Going back in Sephora Pro number 10, I'm going to just pick up a little bit more Peach Dusk and just where we kind of lost some of it from blending Paranoid up. Now medium sweeper, the other end of the brush. This is from Sigma. This is the E54. Going in with the shade Purple Rain. And this shade is so pretty right here. That's from La Vie en Rose. It's such a pigmented, it's considered a matte, but it's also like it's not a metallic, but it's kind of like a satin matte formula. And I'm just going to pack this into the outer V. Look how pretty this is. All right, and I'm gonna add just a little bit more up here because I went a little bit higher than I anticipated on this side. On your G, mini booster, we're gonna go ahead and blend out that edge. And look how easy this blends out. Even though it's like a satin matte or whatever, it's called, it blends out so easily. Just buffing out the edges and then just kind of carrying it over just a little bit to add more structure to the look. But this Purple Rain shade is amazing, and this is also a single in the Idols collection. Right, this is the Sonia G Builder Pro, going in with Divine Rose 2, and I'm going to take Eleganza. Just gonna take a little bit and we're gonna pop it right here in the center. And I'm gonna kind of carry it over just a little bit. These two together, Purple Rain and Eleganza, look amazing. I wiped the brush off and now I am going to go in with Ritualistic Rose. That is the little quad. And I am going to take, Rose Quartz, which is right here. And it has some purple to it. And this one, I think, let's see, it's a 005 shade. I'm just going to spray it just so I don't have so much fallout. Urban Decay All Night Setting Spray. Gave the brush a spritz. You don't need to wet this shade for pigmentation value, but it has so many fine glitter particles, I didn't really want it to be all over my face. And I'm just kind of mixing it in and just covering up Eleganza just a little bit, but still letting it show through. And I'm gonna pick up just a little bit more. Oh man, I forgot how pretty this shade is. Jesus. It's just fun to kind of go in and dip in with all the Pat McGrath palettes, especially if you own a lot of them. You can create some really amazing looks, even between not just the Rose collection, but just all of them in general. Quad from Ritualistic Rose Flat Definer Brush by Sonia G, going in with Astral Ghost Orchid, yes. Yes, is that what it's called? Astral Ghost Orchid? Yes, it is. Astral Rose Orchid, excuse me. Astral Rose Orchid. And I'm just going to pop a little of this into corner. And I should have sprayed my brush because it is the same type of shade as the other one. Just to help some of the glitter stick down a little bit better, even though you don't need to. But this is looking great. I'm just going to pick up that first brush, well, one of the first brushes, the medium sweeper brush, and just kind of fuse the line right here. So it's looking just a tiny bit, you know, blocky to me. So just to buff it out. Woo! And this look is gorgeous. I am digging it. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some lashes to my face makeup, and we'll go ahead and do the lips when I come right back. All right, I am back. Lashes are on. I opted to go with the little black dress lashes by Kiss. And I'm going to go ahead and let's jump back in, picking up my flat definer brush. Going to take the La Vie en Rose palette again. We're going to go in with Purple Rain, and we're going to run that on the lower lash line. Just to tie the look in all together. Now, for blush, we're going to pop back in with Rose Decadence, and I'm just going to take like a Christian Siriano brush that I use for my blush all the time. I did do my bronzer. I'm wearing the Gucci bronzer, and I'm just going to take this blush and we're going to go in with Peach Dusk, I want to say. Yeah, that's called. And I did do this on my last video, and it's beautiful as blush. Look at that. Pat, when you gonna give us a blush palette? Or some blushes and bronzers? Come on. You know you can do it. You can do it. All right, so that is beautiful. Now, because, you know, we just left one out there so messed up. Divine Rose 1. I'm going to go in with Iridescent Pink 003 right here as a highlighter. And this is actually found in her highlight trio. Ooh. All right. Okay, now let's go for lips. So I have the Suburbia Lip Pencil by Pat McGrath. This released with Divine Rose 2. I usually don't keep all my packaging for like the lipsticks and stuff, but she's still hanging around, and I really like this packaging. She should do a t-shirt of this packaging like she has for Mothership 5 and a few of the other Mothership palettes. I would so love a t-shirt. So this is the Suburbia lip liner. I really wanted it. I don't think it's going to make a difference for the product that we're about to put on next, but I wanted to see what it looked like. It's cute. Now, going in with one of the Divinyls. This came out with the Rose Decadence collection, and I had the shade Love Interest. So pretty. I did demo this in a trying new makeup video. So we're just going to go ahead and slap this on. So that's why I said, I was like, it probably don't matter, but you know, whatever, it'll be fine. And I knew I was putting on this. That's why I was like, it probably won't matter that I'm not going to grab any lip balm. This is how I created the eye look. I hope you guys like it. It gives you a little inspiration of when playing with your palettes. We don't have to do so one palette at a time. So overall, I hope you have enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope that you have enjoyed the ranking of the Rose palettes within Pat McGrath's palette collection. I just have really fallen in love with this theme. I think it's been well executed, and it's really no secret why it's been the best-selling probably products of her collection, because everybody can wrap their mind in roses. Everybody feels like it's neutral, it's approachable, it's not too bold, even though there are some bold pops in there, but it just really speaks to the masses. Now, with that being said, I'm really kind of tired of some of the rose stuff. I'm ready for a blue-green theme. Thank you, Mother Pat. I know you can do some ocean jewel tones very well. You can do it. I know you can. So with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please come back, subscribe to my channel. Let me know down below with what other rose palettes are your favorite. Do you have them all like me? Because clearly I have a problem. That's the problem with Pat McGrath. You try one and then you're like, oh, this is good. You try two and you're like, and the next thing you know, you're just hooked. So use a discount code, get a gift card, do something to save a little coin. But please hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video, and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because you know I love you to be in my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Hey, 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 chair. Chair dance. Chair dance. All right, guys. Bye.